Harper Audio presents Catullus Bedspread by Daisy Dunn, read by Mike Grady. This bedspread, embroidered with the shapes of men who lived long ago, unveils the virtues of heroes through the miracle of art. Author's note: the political system in Rome. Politicians in Rome followed an established ladder of power. At the top sat two chief magistrates known as consuls. Male citizens of Rome, aged 17 and above, elected the two consuls each year, and the Senate guided them, while also managing the civic purse and foreign relations. The first consuls had been plucked from the richest families. The first senators' descendants were the patricians or aristocrats of Catullus, Rome. Before a man could even think about becoming a consul, he needed to gain some experience. As he approached the age of 30, a budding patrician politician would strive first to be elected as a quaestor, whose tedious responsibilities involved supervising the treasury. At the end of the year, funds permitting, quaestors became life members of the Senate, and the more appealing prospect of running for the senior magistracies, aedile, praetor, then consul, suddenly became feasible. Beyond the consulship, men could become censors, who routinely examined the membership of the Senate. Before they could run for the senior magistracies, plebeian candidates, by contrast, could achieve the tribunate. Every year Catullus spent in Rome, he would see 10 tribunes of the people elected from the plebeian class scurry off to their own assemblies to consider legislation and veto measures, and each other at will. While the 4 aediles, 2 plebeian, 2 patrician, took charge of public works and entertainment, the 8 praetors were as though deputies to the consuls, and oversaw legal matters such as trials and disputes arising in the provinces. Few could wait until the end of the year, when they had the chance to proceed to a command overseas. The 2 consuls tended to progress to more senior foreign commands at the end of their year, too. Men did not belong to political parties. They could change their allegiances at will. Some politicians aligned themselves with the optimates, best men, who championed the Senate's authority and sought to work with it. Others with the populares, who sought a more liberal, reforming approach to policy by appealing to the tribunes to make their voice heard. Populares were often self-interested men who, cunningly veiling their personal ambitions, used the tribunes to propose legislation that would buy them the favor of the common man. The excessive ambition of individual tribunes would contribute to the fall of the Republic, a catastrophe that began less than a decade after Catullus died. A miserable period of civil war and dictatorship would take hold, at the end of which the Romans would bow their heads again to a sole ruler, the future Emperor Augustus. Prologue. Gaius Valerius Catullus had endured a difficult night in Rome. "Undone by passion, I tossed and turned all over the bed." He had spent the evening drinking wine and composing poetry, and was far too stimulated to rest. He longed only to taste daylight and swap stanzas once more with his friend and fellow poet, a small man named Calvus. Poetry remains the insomniac's gift. Catullus was as familiar with what it was like to have another warm his chilly limbs in the bed you left behind as he was with the bedchamber that bore the remnants of lust. Steeped in flowers and the oil of Syrian olive, knackered and tattered, pillows everywhere, creaking and shaking, the trembling bedstead shattered. Poem 6. He also knew what it was like to obsess over a bedspread. Even when he didn't have the stirrings of passion and unfinished lines circling his mind, the poet was seldom at rest. Born in Verona around 82 BC, Catullus moved to Rome and travelled the south border of the Black Sea, where men waded with fine fishing nets and built boats shaped like beans. He made his way to Rome's countryside and to his family's second home on the peninsula of Lake Garda. the hundreds of poems he wrote across the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?